Now, let's go ahead and go into the ebook and walk you through calculating out your weight maintenance calculation. Okay, now we can get into the meat of this. For some of you, it might be frustrated because you've been wanting to get to this the whole time, but now that you have all the foundation, the rest of it is just gonna fly by. On this page 19, this is where you can print this out and fill it out yourself. This is the first step of the weight management calculation. So let's jump right to the example page, the BMR example calculation. This is the first stage in calculating it out. You can see where somebody filled out the information. So you just put your age, and then you want to put your weight in kilograms. Now, the reason why you want to put it in kilograms is because the research for that equation was done in the metric system, because that's what science is. It's metric. I've provided a helpful conversion for you to change your pounds into kilograms if that applies for you. Likewise, you need your height. It is in centimeters. You need to convert it to centimeters. I also have that conversion for you as well. And then you write down your biological sex. You don't have to write it down because you probably know it, but it's important because it determines which equation you use. For this calculation example, if biological sex is female, a female is used for this particular example, but I'll just scroll up briefly. Notice that biological sex is male. That calculation is provided as well. The only difference is just the ending step, which is the constant. And again, that's just from the research that they conducted in their laboratory of Mifflin St. George. So for this calculation, you see the constant 9.99, which is the factor that went with weight. So times your kilograms, and then you put that number aside. Then you take your constant 6.25, you multiply it by your height in centimeters, put that number aside, and then you multiply 4.92 times your age in years, put that number aside, and then the last step as shown, you can just take and you add the first number to the second number, you subtract the third number, and then the last step, don't forget it, after step 3, there's that minus 161 for females. For males, it will be plus 5. So that's that last step. So following it all out, this person has a 1,621 roughly calories per day for their BMR, basal metabolic rate. So that's how you calculate it. There's obviously these notes you can read. It'll guide you along for everything. But stage 2 is calculating out your activity. Now I have this URL right here. You can click this little link. We're going to go ahead and go to that right now. So this is where the link will take you. It'll take you to this calculator in this little dialog box. And all you have to do is input and log your hours per day. Let's say this person spends 8 hours sleeping. You can do half-hour increments for this. 2 hours lounging, watching TV. And they spend the rest of the time, about 11 hours, sitting for work, sitting at home, doing things. And the rest of the hours, because notice there's 3 hours left of the 24-hour period, the rest of their time, they're pretty sedentary, and they just spend for standing and dressing and bathing and cooking. Those slight standing activities, they only have about 3 cumulative hours of that. So when you scroll down to the very bottom, you'll see that there's an activity factor, or 1.06, and that's the only number that you will need from this calculator. You may not fill out anything past number 5 or number 6, depending on how much exercise you do. So don't feel like you have to fill out every single one of these. May not be the case for most people at all. Just make sure that the total is 24 hours. So we got that WAF number of 1.06. We can go ahead and just return back to this weight maintenance calculation final step, and you can see for this generic calculation example, all you would do is multiply the BMR of calories times an activity factor, and then you would end up with the suggested daily calories. Now, that suggested daily calories is just to maintain your weight. So if you want to stay exactly the same weight that you're at, you'll want to be eating, not that specific number, but whatever you calculate out to be your suggested daily calories if your goal is weight maintenance. Now keep in mind, this is one of the main reasons why you wanted to do that step 2, identifying your intake, because a lot of people may reach this point where it says suggested daily calories to maintain my weight. From my 7-day tracker, on average, I eat about 2,300 calories. That's going to lead to weight gain. If you're eating significantly less than 1,750 or this theoretical number, then you may be losing weight over time slowly. So to maintain and stay consistent, it will require this number. If for any reason you find that the calculation packets are for some reason tedious for you, I do have calculators that I have created that make this whole process easier. I am under the philosophy that obviously I've put you through all of this because I want people to learn it. I want you guys to learn how to do this stuff for yourselves and take back your power, because knowledge is power. And so that's why I want you guys to understand how to use these formulas and where it all comes from, where this information comes from. But I do have calculators. Now that you have gone through this, you can let me know if you want access to that as a separate service. Just reach out to me if those extra calculators. I have one for muscle gain. I have the Cash-McCardle equation, one that incorporates the body fat percentage. And so I have all those equations that you would need. If it is an extra service that you'd be interested in, just let me know. Reach out to me. Otherwise, I'll just always assume that my packets are good enough. So I hope this isn't the end of our relationship together. Go ahead and join my Facebook community, my YouTube channel as well. And you can even sign up for an account on my MyZeniverse website. It's free to just make an account, but it lets me know that you're interested in more services and more information from me that I can provide to you. So keep in touch. You should be armed and ready to go for your entire life. Thank you so much for joining me with today's masterclass. Best of luck.